So, as Bailee and I discussed in our prep call, which I wish we would have recorded, we said at the end of it, we're like, we should have recorded this. But we do, we discussed that most home care teams don't necessarily have a lead problem, right? They often have a connection problem. So, let's go ahead and dive in for the sake of time. If you've been on these conversations before, you know that they go at lightning speed. So, let's go ahead and dive in. We are going to be talking about really just keeping things simple. We're not going to add anything more or extra to your plate, but just doing the right things at the right moments in a way that really does feel human. So, as you can see today, I am joined by Bailee Adams from Cornerstone Caregiving, and she's going to help bring this all to life with her real world experience. That's the part that I am the most looking forward to, and I hope that all of you are too. So, Bailee, before we jump in, I would love for you to just share a little bit more about your role, about Cornerstone Caregiving, and then what you're seeing right now when it comes to building trust in the home care space.
Yes, thank you so much, Christy. I am so humbled to be here. My name is Bailee Adams. I am the operating director for Cornerstone Caregiving here in Norman, Oklahoma. I recently celebrated 2 years in this role, and it has been a wild ride. I have been in senior care for several years, but the really cool thing that we all stay connected in the senior care space. So I've had a relationship with Sales Mail for so many years now, and I've been able to utilize not only Sales Mail for my senior living days, but also now in home care. And Cornerstone just serves a great amount of people in the United States. We have over 400 locations. Yeah, I know, in like 6 years. So
That's
it's been incredible to see the growth, and we're not stopping there. And so just amazing to reach people no matter where they call home and really provide a great service and serve them well.
I love that. Well, congratulations on your recent 2 year anniversary. If you're not following Bailee on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you do because those photos of that gathering looked so fun. So great job. Keep up the great work. And yes, we're so glad that you're here joining us today. So let's start at the beginning. We're going to really cover three kind of main points along the process today. And what I want to start with is the beginning, the moment that a new lead comes in for you. This is really where we have an opportunity, and I know that you feel the same way, Bailee, but we have a really unique opportunity to shift how people view senior living in this moment, right? If
Yeah.
you send them just a normal plain text email, that's probably going to get lost in the shuffle. So, we do have an example that's Bailee's example. So, I'm excited to share that with you guys. But right before we actually tee that up and show it to you, I would love just to hear from you, Bailee, like, where do you find that disconnection? Like, is that something that you're really adamant about sending a video at the beginning? What's that kind of look like for you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Christy. So I think our families that we are reaching, if I could describe them like one word to describe them, is overwhelmment.
Yes.
Like something has happened usually that initiates some sort of interest in home care, a fall, a hospitalization, a skilled stay, someone saying that they're not, safe to be at home any longer by themselves. And hearing that for the first time or realizing that about your loved one for the first time can be a very just hard feeling to sit with. And it can be very isolating because you don't think about how you're going to care for someone or yourself
Yeah.
in your home, but the statistics show that people want to stay home. And that's where they want to be. And so getting from point A to point B and how to get there can be really hard. And so I initially use video for connection and knowledge. Like I want people to know what home care is, what their options are, whether it is staying home, going to senior living placement, whatever that is, we want to be a resource for them. And video allows me to do that because it allows me to reach them on their time schedule. We are seeing adult children more and more who are working that 9 to 5. So they are trying to piece together caring for mom and then running to their job and running back and forth. And you would be amazed how many people watch my videos at 9 and 10 p.m. at night when I am comfy and in my pajamas.
But how exciting that you get those notifications that that is happening and you do know that they are, in fact, viewing the message that you sent to them and starting to already build trust with you, build trust with Cornerstone. And by the time they do actually have an in-person or phone conversation with you, they probably feel so much more confident, right? I know the same is true for us. When we are educated on a topic and we feel a little bit more well versed in it, we feel more confident in navigating it. So I love that you're doing that, Abby. I would love if we could tee up Bailee's video to share with everyone. And while you're watching this, guys, I want you to really ask yourself, if you were a family member receiving this, would would it feel different to you? Would you feel more confident in responding? And I'd be curious to kind of hear your feedback and thoughts once we get this video playing for you.
While she's pulling that up, I just think it's really important to that we position ourselves. I think everyone on this call probably got into senior care because you have a calling of some sort to serve people and also educate them versus selling them. I don't think anyone here probably is like, I want to sell home care. I want to sell senior living, or I want to sell anything really. You got into it because you want to help people.
Yeah.
And so video allows a moment for education and resources where you're positioning yourself as a expert in what you're doing versus just selling it and pushing it on someone who doesn't really want it.
Yeah,
So
and I think we have an opportunity, right? Like it's especially with home care. I'd be so curious. I'm sure like how many home care agencies are in your local area? Probably a lot.
over
Probably
100.
Probably more. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Over 100. So way more
Mhm.
competition than you had when you were in the senior living space.
Yep.
And so I think even if we've kind of released the outcome in this initial video of if you don't choose us, that's okay. We're
Right.
maybe not for everybody, but here are the resources and the information to make a really educated decision. So I love that.
And something else, Christy, you touched on earlier is like we have so many leads. This is where it was different for me navigating the home care space versus senior living. It is not a lead problem. We have tons of people who are interested in caregiving services within their home. But the problem is when they're reaching out, especially if you guys are working with lead agitators like a Place for Mom or website leads, once their information goes out, man, everyone is just picking up the phone and calling, and they can get super overwhelmed really, really quickly. And so providing something different like this video that we're about to see can set you apart in the space because it's not just a phone call. You don't feel like a telemarketer. You are actually connecting with people on their time frame and how they want to be communicated with.
I love that. All right, we've done it, friends. It's here. I'm going to
Yay.
go ahead and hit play on this. And like I said, watch this kind of through the lens of a family member and just see if it would make you feel different than a plain text email might.
Hi there, this is Bailee Adams, and I'm the operating director of Cornerstone Caregiving in Norman, Oklahoma. We are so thankful that you've expressed interest in our services today, and I'm hoping that this video will provide you a short overview of what our services entail and what you can expect from Cornerstone Caregiving. We are a non-medical home care agency, so what that means is there's a lot that we can do, and there's very little that we can't do. Some of our popular services that we provide for clients include all personal care needs, so showering, bathing, transfer assistance, incontinence care. Anything that's relating to personal hygiene, we can really provide to really retain that independence and dignity with you or a loved one. We also provide all homemaker activities, so whether it's laundry, dishes, sweeping the floor, taking out the trash, checking the mail, we can provide these services to allow our clients to age in place wherever they call home, whether that be a traditional home setting, if they're living with family, independent living, or even assisted living or memory care. We also provide transportation services. So for those folks who have multiple doctor's appointments that they're needing assistance with, or their standing hair appointment, or if they just want to go to their favorite lunch spot, we can provide non-medical transport to these places as long as someone can get in and out of a traditional vehicle. We can use the caregiver vehicle in these instances if they do not have a vehicle, or we can use the client vehicle, whichever their preference. We also layer our services very well with traditional home health care or hospice care. We can provide end-of-life care if needed, just to really layer on that support with our other providers and partnerships in the community. So one of the questions we get asked is, well, this is great, but who pays for this? And there's a lot of different answers to that question. Kind of the overview is if you are a veteran or a veteran spouse, we are credentialed with the VA. We also take long term care insurance if you have a policy with long term care. And lastly, we also are credentialed with the GUIDE program, which is a Medicare funded program for those facing Alzheimer's or dementia. Lastly, we do take private pay. So I hope that this was a good overview for you. We would love to meet you in person for a complimentary assessment. Our phone number is right below, so feel free to text or call us to set that up today. We hope you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
I feel so informed and I know what you guys do. That was so
Oh, such a
great.
compliment.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you crushed it. I love that video so much. And kind of like what I said right before we shared it, right? I feel confident that every single person that reaches out to you all that gets that video, I guarantee you they arrive to the conversation with you or someone on your team with way more confidence than they had before, both in Cornerstone itself and home care and how that all works at large. So great job. I see people are celebrating you in the
Oh,
chat, rightfully so. So let's go on to talking about kind of that second step. So, this is where I think it gets interesting both in home care and in the senior care space. We've made a great
mhm.
first impression. The visit is scheduled. They saw that video from Bailee, and then everyone's like, all right, perfect. We're good to go. But in reality, it's kind of one of the most fragile moments in the process, right? Sometimes people say, actually, I don't want you to come to my house, or I've changed my mind, or I've talked to my mom and they've changed their mind. And so I think that I've said this many times, but silence does not equal disinterest. Silence often just equals uncertainty, overwhelm, confusion, not quite sure what to do next. And that's what leads to the cancellations, the no-shows, families kind of second guessing their decision. But this is where video can really become a bridge. And I believe that you can do this both in an evergreen format, so more of like a generalized video that can be used over and over again, or personalize it. I'm going to show you next how easy it is to do, of course, but what have you, Bailee, seen when it comes to like pre-visit communication, right? It's a little different than pre-tour, but
Right.
like kind of talk us through like your thoughts on that, why it's important, maybe how you've leveraged it in the past.
Yeah, I think it's really important for families to realize that they don't have to show me their best self
Yeah.
or put their best foot forward. And this differs with senior living because in the senior living place, they were coming to us. They
Yeah.
were doing a tour with us. And so they could put on their best outfit and their makeup and all the things. But then when you are facing this kind of intricacy and intimacy of going into someone's home, it can feel a little invasive,
Yeah.
especially with seniors for many reasons. They're probably not feeling their best self if they're needing some sort of home care. The children are probably sleep deprived and not in the house
Everyone's
looks
just
a mess.
tired.
Yes. I mean, I remember when I had surgery and like I had just stuff everywhere and, my house looked a wreck. But I think just showing people that I'm a real person. I'm going to personalize that second video. I'm going to call them by name. I'm going to ask how mom's doing with her, skilled rehab stay. Just really opening the door to show that I care more about them as a person than even if we ever have our first meeting.
Yeah, I
I
love
think
that.
that's where you build connection and trust, and people start to see that authentic person versus a sales pitch.
Yeah, for
And the
sure.
first video, for many reasons, is good for me because it is that like first layer of here's the high points about home care. But then the second and the third video is more personalized, it's more intimate.
Yeah.
And I think that opens the door for people to commit to at least a visit in the home.
For sure. And I think that it builds, I worked a good amount of years in the home care space as well. And I would send it from my car, which is where I did my
Sure.
promo video from. And something about showing them, like, I'm going to be in this red car. This is who I am and what I look like, especially for the folks that are a little bit more fearful of someone just rolling up to their house. They're maybe only used to their, adult child or another family member coming by. So I think really using this, like you said, to just kind of ease some fears. It's just, I think that video collapses distance, right? And it does act as a bridge. And then I know you've experienced it, I've experienced it, and many others on this call have, where when we do see the person in real life, they're like, there's some type of, you're the person that I've been talking to, or yes, you're the person that sent me that video. And so I know we're going to talk more about tips on feeling authentic while recording on video, but I think that this is just a really great, you know, a video to kind of keep in your repertoire. Keep practicing this one. You will notice a difference, especially if you've been in this for a long time or any amount of time. You'll notice a difference for your assessments, your home visits, if you send a pre-visit reminder or outreach versus if you don't.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, with the foundational blocks of any relationship, if you think about a friendship, or even like if you've married into a family, like there are foundational blocks of relationships that you
Yeah,
lay, and it's no different when you're signing someone up for senior care.
correct.
You have to generate trust and connection first, and really highlighting what to expect, because so much of their healthcare journey, especially when you meet them, has been unknown.
Mhm.
They don't know what the future holds. It's taken a detour to what they thought their healthcare journey may look like. And so highlighting expectations up front to show some consistency and some reliability is going to make all the difference.
Yeah, I always say like it's great to tell people what we're going to do, but then actually doing that. And if we can not only tell them what we're going to do, but show them what we're going to do and stay consistent in that, A, that's just being good to people, right? But that's also going to set you up for a more successful process and journey with them, and same thing for them too.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Anything to add on that before we jump into our third stage of the process?
No, I think just connecting with people, this is why we all got into it, and just finding your own unique way to do that. I could sit here and watch Christie's videos and be like, "Oh, I should not be on camera." Like I am nowhere near that level, but you're talking about connection. People love to see being authentic and
Yeah.
saying and being in your car. And that's real life, y'all. It
Yeah,
is real life. And that people connect with that more than a scripted, robotic, this is what we do.
for
So
sure.
just keep
I
that
do.
in
I love that. I always say, I talk with my hands. I'm looking into the abyss for my words. And guess what? When you meet me in person, my consistency is unmatched.
mind.
At least you know what you're getting into, I guess.
That's right.
So let's talk about kind of this third stage. Now, listen, in the home care playbook, you're going to see that there are a ton of use cases, steps along the process. That video makes a ton of sense. I also understand and want to just kind of call out, we don't expect you to use video at every single stage of the process. That's going to lose its luster. It might start to water down what it is you're doing, but all of you on this watching live with us, watching the replay, because you're really good at your job. You know the moments that actually mean the most and are going to matter the most to somebody. That is when I encourage you to leverage video. We are talking about kind of the top three ways today, but you're going to see a ton of other ideas in the home care playbook, which be sure to get in the chat if you've not already. So let's talk about that third kind of post visit follow up, right?
Mhm.
This is a really, again, kind of a magical moment, if you will. Families often leave that feeling sometimes even more overwhelmed, right? Not because of anything we've done, it's just an overwhelming process. They've got high emotions or questions, and they just have a lot on their minds. So, if the only thing that they get after having that really intense emotional conversation with you is nothing or 14 paragraphs, which I'm always dramatic about, but that's what it feels like when you're reading plain text emails sometimes. You start to kind of lose that connection, or the connection you built with all of this momentum we've been talking about might start to fade a little bit. So, really adding, and in my opinion, I'm sure you feel the same, Bailee, this is a personalized video. This should never be evergreen. This is where you have the opportunity to reinforce trust, recap what mattered to them, and then keep the relationship moving forward, guide them. I believe that we are guides. We're not actually salespeople. That's just the name that we say to the outside world.
Yeah.
We're really just guiding people. And so, what's the best part about all of this is that it doesn't have to take you 20 minutes or even probably 10 or 2. And so, instead of telling you about the specific video example, I'm actually going to show you. I am going to hop into the sales mail platform here in just a minute and create a sales mail with you, all of you. So, it'll be fun. We'll get to do this together. And I'm going to actually record this video as if I were leaving a meeting that I had just had with Bailee. And so just quick little plug for Bailee's video. It is under the industry's home care tab on the Sales Mail website if you'd like to watch it again. I know I love it. I learn from it every single time. So we're going to hop over into the Sales Mail platform itself. I do want to just highlight really quickly before I dive into recording. We've had a ton of new features released like in the last month to 2 months, guys. So if you're new to sales mail, I would encourage you to schedule some time with our team. If you are not new to sales mail, pretend that you are because there are so many great new features that I think you're going to really enjoy. Excuse me. One of those is actually the script writer and the teleprompter. And so you can come into the script writer and select a new script. You can write it manually or generate it with AI. What's great about generating it with AI is I could literally say, I just met with Bailee Adams. She is nervous and fearful of, falls and is looking for some meal prep. And I could give it all of the details from my visit and it will provide me a really personalized follow-up for Bailee. So I'm going to go ahead and hop over into the record. So a couple things I just want to highlight on this page here is I could go ahead and just start recording, but for today I do want to show you that script. And then we have a ton of really amazing lenses that are going to help customize your video, really personalize your outreach. I love the whiteboard because I used to hold up an actual physical whiteboard. So I'm going to say, great to meet you today, Bailee, and hit save. And this is just going to be a hand recognition whiteboard. So you'll see in the Zoom screen, I have no whiteboard, and in Sales Mail, I do. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start recording and run through this example with us together. Hey Bailee, it was so great to meet you today. I do understand that you have some concerns around falling and meal prep, but I want you to rest assured because our dedicated caregivers are here to support you every step of the way. They're going to assist you with meal preparation, ensuring that you have nutritious meals ready to go, and help to create a safer environment to really minimize those fall risks. Your well-being is in fact our top priority, and we are committed to providing the care that you need to feel confident and secure at home. If you do have any more questions, I don't want you to hesitate to reach out. Take care, and we look forward to supporting you. Bye for now. Now I'll hit stop, and I'll hit save. Hey, Bailee, I am muting that, and I'm going to tell you my best tip, and then I want to hear Bailee's best tips and tricks. When it comes to recording yourself, friends, if you like what you said when you said it, just save it. Don't watch yourself back. Don't play it back. Nobody likes to listen to themselves or see themselves on camera, okay? So Bailee, I would love to hear maybe what are some of your best tips and tricks when it comes to recording?
Yeah, that's such a good one, Christy. I remember when I first got sales mail, I was like recording myself 20 times just to get one video. And I'm like, this is
No,
exhausting and I don't have time for this.
no.
So yes, do not play it back. If you like what you said, say, just hit save, send it. Um, I think too, when I was training people to use sales mail and senior living, they would always be like, I'm not meant for video. I don't have the face for it. I don't have the words for it. Whatever it is, my makeup doesn't look good today. Just, it's not about you. Like it's about them. And I think when you take the focus off yourself and you kind of tie that back into your servant heart of providing education, knowledge, and information to your target audience, I think that really shifts the focus off of what do I look like and shifts it more to how am I going to help someone today? Because when you have that mindset, you're just going to hit save and you're going to send it and it's going to be fine.
I love to think of them as like a video voicemail too, right? We're all well versed in the cadence of leaving a voicemail. If you do the same cadence as you're recording on video, you will crush it every single time. I promise. Okay, so we've recorded. I've swapped out the brand so you could see Cornerstone Caregiving in action. And all I'm going to do to send this out, especially if I am using the desktop portal, I love the mobile app as well. So feel free to try out both. But I'm just going to hit that second code down, come into a new email that I had prepared a little bit here, and I'm just going to control V or copy paste, whatever way you like to copy and paste. My video is now ready to go. I have a little bit of a context statement. Another pro tip is video in the subject line. And then I'm just going to hit send and let it fire off. And that's it. That's where folks are going to watch your video start to finish. They're going to be able to engage with your video. I loved the initial one that we showed from Bailee. She referenced all of the contact information down below. And so, it saves you from having to say your phone number, your email address, all of the things. And then it's just ready to go.
Absolutely. And you can create snippets and things that are saved in whatever platform you're using. Like at Cornerstone, we're using Quo, and we can save those snippets. And so those videos are already pre-uploaded, ready to go. Anyone from your team, because there's just one of us a lot of times, and we're busy
Yeah.
people. So anyone from your team can just shoot that off right away. I think speed to lead in home care is definitely where you're going to see the biggest return on your investment. And so if you can get that super quickly shot off to someone in need, they're going to remember that and also retain it, which is what we want before we speak with them as well.
Yeah, a fun fact, if you don't already know this stat, is that 95% of a message is actually retained when it's consumed via video versus 10% when it's consumed via plain text.
Yes. And Tommy, yes, I utilize text all the time. So those snippets I was referring to is actually in text messaging format. So the sales mail videos, the link, the copy of this link specifically, and you can add text with it of introducing yourself, and then adding that video link. And we get so many text messages back and just additional questions and things like that. So
It's so fun. And that is just like people's primary way of text or communicating, right? Is texting. I feel like if somebody were to call us right now, you and I, we would be like, declined, go to voicemail. And then if they leave us a voicemail, we still might not have an opportunity to get back to them. And so sales mail is really just the vehicle. I want you always to think of it as that, which to Bailee's point, you could upload content into sales mail. You could download your videos out of the platform and use them elsewhere. It's really a vehicle to deliver that professionalism, to make sure that your brand consistency is staying, on target, and also to get the analytics and to be able to see what's going on with those videos themselves. So,
absolutely. Christy, is it still around 5 to 7 touch points for someone to be able to recall your name and brand and company? Is it
yeah.
still around that number for,
Yeah, if
okay.
not even more, right? I know that like
Yeah.
for all of us, I feel like, I'm being targeted right now with all things like baby and pregnancy on my Instagram. And if I see it one time, I'm like, eh. But if I see it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 times, I'm like, I think I need that. And it does create that brand recall, especially when people can see you and hear you and learn from you in all different modalities. So maybe it is sending an email and a phone call and a voicemail and a video and then a text message. All of those different touch points are really going to start to build that trust with your prospects, your referral partners. There's so many great ways to leverage this. So Bailee, again, like I said, I knew it was going to go so fast.
I
We are
know.
we are at the top of the hour, but if you're able to hang out with us, we do have 15 more minutes for a Q&A. Anything else, Bailee, that you would like to share, plug, shout out, anything like that before we dive into any questions people might have?
I think just really put your own personal twist on this. It doesn't have to look like Christie's video. It doesn't have to look like my videos. Like you are uniquely made in your own way, and be unique in this way. Like find your thing that makes you comfortable on camera. Find your thing that's going to resonate with other people. Comparison will steal your joy in this experience. So don't get so stressed out that you're trying to be like anyone else but yourself. So I think if you take anything from this call is just be that way
Yeah.
and do good for good people. So
I always like to remind us that we're not auditioning for any major motion pictures. Especially when you remember and you think of this, right, as like a video voicemail.
yeah.
Knowing that it is that, knowing that it's going to one person, and I have heard because I've now worked with thousands of people on these exact things, camera confidence, fear of being on the camera. I always like to remind, especially in the senior care space umbrella, right? Home care, home health, hospice, senior living community. We might be really scared to get on camera. And arguably, if you're not and you're not a little, you should, maybe that's more area of concern. At least we're human beings, we're not robots. It doesn't always feel super comfortable at first, but you do get, the more you practice it, it's just a skill like anything else. But if we are fearful to be on camera for 35, 45 seconds, remember that the prospects and the families that we're working with, they're really fearful to have picked up the phone. They're really fearful to be navigating this journey and this experience. You know, they're really scared too. And I always like to remind us, myself included, that they're being really vulnerable with us to do that, right? To allow us to come into their home, to pick up the phone and call. And we can meet them with like a fraction of that vulnerability by showing up in this way. And it does really mean a lot to them and goes a really long way.
100%.
Okay, let's see. It looks like Tommy might have a couple more questions. How many times do
Okay.
you recommend sending videos and how often? It's a great question, Tommy.
So yeah, that's a wonderful question. I send a video for every single new lead, whether I get a chance to talk with them on over the phone or not, because here's the thing, they're probably going to forget what you said on the phone, and so it's a nice recap. They may have not been with their siblings or mom when they initially called you guys and connected, and so being able to quickly pull up their phone and show mom what we do or show a sister who lives in Texas what we do, that's just going to help for comprehension purposes. That's also going to help with brand awareness. So I send videos to all new leads. And depending on the sales cycle of each lead and like the decision-making process, that may determine how many follow-up videos that I send. But that initial one we do that for every new lead in our office.
I love that. And Tommy, I think the thing I would add is, just remember kind of like what we talked about more towards the beginning of this conversation. When are the moments that you think matter the most to a family? Do you think letting them know based on the initial conversation, letting them know who you are, when you're going to be there, what that initial on-site visit with their family is going to look like in the home? Or do you think that it's going to be maybe more beneficial to send a post-visit follow-up that does recap and lay out the next steps? So I think it's really, just like we do with email and text and calls and voicemails, I think using your best judgment is you're not going to mess it up. So just as a reminder, everybody, we do have the home care playbook. And so, yeah, Abby, if you want to go ahead and maybe pop that up on the screen whenever you get a chance, we'll take a peek at it. But you do have access to it in the chat. I would make sure to go ahead and get that. You'll also be getting a replay of this conversation, so don't worry, you'll have it in there as well. But yeah, this is going to be just a really great guide for you. Abby, maybe, yeah, thank you. So, what I love about the second page is there are going to be some scripts in here or some sample messaging for those of you that are maybe really excited about this, but you're still not quite sure what to actually say. Um, Thank you for letting us know, Louise. We will get an updated link for you in the chat. But yeah, friends, this is a really great way to copy and paste or use the AI script writer to really help you narrow in what you want the messages to be. And then we've got all kinds of additional use cases, like I mentioned, we talked about 3 today. There's so many more that can really help you advance the sales process and the decision-making process. You're going to start to learn and find what works best for you. And kind of back to the question around texting, this is, built for your existing workflow. So whether you are emailing prospects, texting prospects, I always say you could send it through email, text, CRM, or carrier pigeon. Any of the above options will work. But as you saw when I created my example, it's just a copy and paste functionality. So you record it on your phone or in your desktop and send it from wherever. I am curious, Bailee, where do you think that you use Sales Mail the most, on your mobile app or on the desktop portal?
Definitely mobile app.
Mobile
I'm
app all
on,
day.
I am on the go. I can't even tell you the last time I opened it up on
That's so
desktop.
great. I just think
Um,
our camera's better on our phone and it's quicker. you
It's
know,
quicker, it's more relatable. I'm in my car, like in
yeah,
between, meetings. And also I will add one video we didn't kind of talk about, but I think is super impactful too, to just add to your list is what differentiates your home care in your market. And families do not know that. So I think a great impactful video is to show how you're different because we know that home care is not all created equal. Senior living is not created
right.
equal. So you know those little things that make you different. And whether that's going to be the best fit for the family or not, that's up to them. But highlighting those things and getting that information out there before those in living room visits is super valuable for families.
Yeah. And again, I know you're going to see it in the playbook, but I love to use sales mail to ask for feedback or reviews,
Yeah.
referral partners, event invites, really anything that I would have to type out multiple paragraphs of. I'm like, I'm going to make a quick video for that.
Yeah, we're starting to launch in recruitment. So the biggest thing with
Yeah.
home care is retention and
Yeah.
caregiver hiring and letting, the caregivers see me on camera and why we're doing what we're doing. And so I think that's a great use too in home care space of recruitment.
I love it. Well, if there are no additional questions, we will go ahead and start wrapping this up. We appreciate you all so much for being here. We've mentioned it a few times, taking videos from your car, and we know that you are busy, and many of you are probably watching from the car right now. So thank you for taking the time. We really do appreciate it. All of the links are in the chat, so I'll give you just maybe one more minute to kind of peek at that if you're wanting to grab something from the chat. Abby has been our incredible moderator and host, and will be sending out a replay as well as some helpful links. And if you need anything at all, don't hesitate to reach us over at salesmail.com, and be sure to connect with Bailee on LinkedIn. You have to go see the 2-year anniversary celebration. It looked so fun. I wanted to be there.
Thank you. Yes, it was birthday party themed, so we had a
Well, yeah, you
great
turned two.
time. Yeah, we turned two. Uh-huh. And no, and please connect with me. I'm happy to answer any questions via LinkedIn that you guys may have after we get off. But for all my Cornerstone people on the call, thank you guys. It means so much that you're here and supporting, and hopefully there's someone on the call that got some really valuable information and can apply it today. So very thankful to be here. Thank you so much, Christy, for everything,
Oh, thank
and just so honored to be on
Yeah,
this
right
call.
back at you. We're big fans of you, and I'm so grateful for your time. I know you're busy, so really appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.